Rated M for mature.
Gentlemen, we're in for an incredible night. Oh, we're taking it up a notch. I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. Wes and Mike TZ coming all strong.
Hello, and welcome to the conference call. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Chris Edwards, and above me, I've got TJ and Rex. Gentlemen, how the hell are you doing?
I'm in the building.
In the building.
I'm in the building. You are welcome.
Cause he been MIA.
Booked and busy is what we've been calling him.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the room, Reginald Nash.
Oh, somebody got to insert some sounds here.
Okay,
listen, you know I love a sound effect.
Listen,
you know we do.
I
We
think
know
we should
you
do
do.
a crashing car right here. Come on, find it. So tell me when you're ready, and I'll redo your introduction.
Oh my God,
That works.
That works.
Are those dudes?
that's how I greet you. So,
Gentlemen. So thank you guys to all the subscribers and people that watch us here on our YouTube channel every week. And then, of course, thank you to those viewers over on Indie Soup Media for their replays every Friday at 10 p.m. We are listed as mature content on the Indie Soup Network.
yeah.
This week's
wait, they
topic.
was counting our age.
What?
They was counting our age.
They clocked y'all.
Counting your age.
I'm the youngest one here.
No.
Lies. In your mind. I think dementia has already set in.
Apparently.
Okay. So this is week 7 already. We're in the home stretch. We got this episode, and next week is the season finale.
Yeah.
But this week's episode, we are talking about opinions on YouTubers and why they're quitting. It's been like a trend, especially in this last year or so. A lot of really high-profile YouTubers have been quitting YouTube. So, what are your thoughts about that, Rex? Let's start with you.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day because I kept seeing lots of videos about people saying, "Oh yeah, I don't love it like I used to," and blah blah blah. And one of the first things that I came to the conclusion of is that whenever you turn the thing you do for like artistic expression or your passion or your interest into your primary source of income, it didn't work. Like, and if this was your outlet from work and now it's not, then you want to leave it for the same reason you wanted to leave your job, right? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
TJ?
Me? I think that's a really good point. So I was not aware that YouTubers were quitting. I had not heard this news. The few that I follow, thankfully, are not quitting or have not quit. But I think that is a really good point. Like, often I think a lot of people start these side projects or these side hustles or these passion projects or whatever on YouTube, and it is something you do, like I said, on the side. But then when you, I guess, become so big and so well known, you start making money, then it can and typically apparently will become your job. And a lot of times I would assume it's probably like burnout, you know, because a lot of YouTubers I know, like, they are constantly producing, and
it kind of seems like you have to have people be able to find your content, right? Like,
yeah,
I guess so. I mean, go ahead.
Finish your thought.
I mean, I guess so. I know for me as a YouTuber, I don't get burned out from doing it, but I also feel like I haven't been doing it long enough. What I get tired because I do have another job and all this other shit going on. So that's why I can't produce constantly and as frequently as I would like. But yeah, I would imagine, like, if that's what you're doing 100% of your time, then yes, you get tired. But I also would imagine that, like, if you've been doing it so long, you've probably gotten to like a plateau. A lot of, if they're like these really big YouTubers, you've probably gotten to a plateau, and I would imagine what's next for you, you know, like, you can only do something for so long and be happy with it or be content with it, or have it satisfy you to a certain extent for so long until you're ready for the next big thing, I guess.
Yeah. So I think that both of you guys hit on some really key points, and I want to introduce something else. And this is, I think, another reason why a lot of big YouTubers are actually quitting YouTube, and actually a lot of them are either going back into like corporate America, or they're looking and branching off of some of the things they've done in YouTube as far as like products and doing products. Now, one of the big key things is that YouTube is a numbers game. And when you get into YouTube, especially in the beginning, you want to monetize. Now, the question is, how do you monetize? You have to have a certain amount of followers. You have to have a certain amount of viewable hours. And then also the algorithm is constantly changing. So you're constantly having to do new things and constantly change how you present your YouTube channel in order to get more eyes on it. So, these guys have been doing this stuff for like 10, 15 years. They've been chasing these numbers for the longest time. Now, you do have those that just do it for the love and the passion of it, and they get paid for it. But even a lot of them are seeing like, all right, I just need to stop because, one, I'm not happy with the content that I'm putting out because I'm creating content that will allow the algorithm to pick it up and to push it. Because if you just do what you want to do and just put it out there a lot of times, it might not get the traction because you're not using keywords and key phrases. You're not manipulating your cover art so that it's enticing enough for people to want to be able to click on it. You're not putting out enough clickbait, because that's another thing with YouTube. If you're not generating images that create clickbait and interest to actually click on it, people will bypass it. Like, we've even had this discussion about, what our cover image should look like. We need to have bigger fonts. You have to put it in certain areas, and I got to a point where it's like, I'm tired of having to always figure out how to create these cover art images that people will quote unquote click on, versus just put up a still image from the video, have the title in it. If you're going to watch it, you're going to watch it. If you're a subscriber, you're going to get it in your feed. You'll see it, that type of thing. So a lot of people are getting burnt out because of the simple fact that they're tired of chasing the numbers. And then, YouTube and Google keeps changing, one, the payout, how you get paid out, the split. And then once you get to a certain tier, it's just like, now I need to get to this next tier. And it's always a fight to get to the next level. And it's just like, you know what? I'm tired of this never ending video game. It's like a video game that has no end.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I feel like this is the thing with anything that you try to do that with any longevity. It's going to require some form of evolution or whatever. But I was thinking about something while you were talking. I've heard different people say that they think that what they are making currently isn't really the content that they intended to make when they got on YouTube. Yes. It was the content that people seem to like the best. And so by watching like their feedback from their audience numbers or whatever, then they started to shift what they were making to cater to what they thought people wanted to see. So now what they make is very far removed from what they intended to make when they started.
They don't even like it.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I don't know that for a fact. Like, I haven't read that, but I was thinking that's probably what has happened. Like, I wonder if these creators have compromised their art in such a way that it's no longer recognizable to them. And Chris, to your point, if they have gotten so far away from the joy of creating and they're chasing the algorithm or trying to do things to make sure that they get picked up or whatever. And I think that goes to, that's a larger topic, because I think that spans the range of social media, not just YouTube. I see it all the time, like Instagram. I'm really not on TikTok anymore, but like especially on Instagram, like people just are posting things strictly to be seen or strictly for it to be clicked or liked or commented on. That and you can, just watching it, you can tell it has very little substance. It has very little creativity. And I felt this way for a very long time. I think we did an episode on this where especially when especially with TikTok, like you would just see people just creating stuff just for the hell of it. It like there was no creativity behind it. There was no uniqueness behind it. It was just like, I'm creating this for it to be on the For You page, just so it to be seen, just so I can get more followers, just so I can get more money or gifts or tokens or whatever the case may be. But there's no creativity behind it. And I assume that is what we're seeing with all these YouTubers quitting. It's like it sounds like you may have compromised your art at some point. And I know for me, like I've been, so just specifically for my Instagram, I've been at 3,000 followers for the longest time, like 3,000 plus followers for the longest time. And I know that is because I am not chasing an algorithm. I'm not putting stuff out for it to be on the For You page. And I'm okay with that because I know what
it's a choice.
It's a choice, and I know what the alternative looks like. It's me putting out content that's not true to me. And for years, that is what I've always strived to do. Just put out authentic stuff that I know I like it, and I know somebody else is going to like it. It may not be a million people going to like it, but if one person likes it, then I'm happy.
I don't know about that, Gary, but anyway.
I mean, that's really how I feel. Like, I'm not doing this for mass appeal. That would be great, sure, because I understand it comes with money, but I never put out anything thinking I want to go viral for this. But unfortunately, from what I'm hearing, like even in schools, you can ask like children, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an influencer. You hear that so much. And
it's
so
crazy.
Like, that's very sad. That's
I have to say I make a conscious choice with the things that I post on social media as well. Like, I mean, okay, so I'm really aware of who my audience is on Instagram, right? And I'm really aware of what they like and what they want to see, so forth and so on. I actually have the content that I could post to cater to that. I don't, but I could, and it would be, I guess what everything else is. But I also feel like the things that I put out are really connected to sort of what like my goals are for myself and my expression and how I want to be received and where I want to go eventually and all that sort of thing. So it's like I focused on trying to connect with people who actually give a shit about what I'm doing. If they don't, then they don't, right? But so when I think about that from a YouTube perspective, I really watch two kinds of YouTube content with some foolishness in between. But mostly I watch shit about photography channels and I watch things about video essays about like activism and such. Don't say nothing smart. Put your mic back on your shirt, girl. And because I could sense the light skin trying it right then. So I'm not even here.
The light skin trash. We've been doing this too long.
I didn't want you to forget about the Misty Pantyhose channel that you're subscribed to. You can't forget about that one.
So for those that have not seen season 1, you have to go back. There's an episode, I think it's titled Misty Pantyhose.
Probably it should be if it ain't.
I think it is. So go on the YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and find it there. I believe it's called Misty Pantyhose. Yeah, like, continue.
My point is that a lot of the photography channels that I followed on YouTube, I watched because they were doing things that I was really interested in. And now it seems like much of that has devolved into either commercials or gear reviews.
Yeah.
What reviews?
Gear commercial.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Try this lens, blah, blah, blah. They didn't, nobody's paying me to do this, but they sent me some free shit to make it. Like,
yeah.
So
I think I would say like what's really important, like, is coming into it, like, I guess getting started, coming into it with a vision, because there is a difference between compromising your art and your art or your creativity evolving, right? So like for me, like with Fashion Show Fridays, that it is what it is. Now I have a vision for that for sure. My vision is this grows to a point where like I'm no longer having to pull fashion shows from YouTube. I'm actually there, and now I'm doing this. So I have a vision for it. That's not a compromise of that. It's the same thing, but it has evolved. But again, I think a lot of these YouTubers, I would think that they maybe just started it and was like, I'm gonna do this because YouTube is where I can get a bunch of followers and people follow me and blah blah blah. But they have no vision for what they want that to be, because at that point it has become a business. You're making a lot of money. Yeah. It's a business. You had no vision for your business,
right?
Yeah, I mean, here's a good example, and I'm gonna just speak on, like, I'm going to use Indie Soup Media, which we're on right now, as a perfect example. There was a clear vision for Indie Soup Media, and Dr. Tachi, forgive me for speaking on your behalf, but I think that, you know, we've had enough conversation. I think I can speak on this a little bit. You know, there's a clear vision on creating a channel for independent content creators, and just creating a channel to, you know, elevate us as a group. And, you know, the growth on this channel has been enormous in the 5 or 6 months that it's been a YouTube channel. I believe it's almost at 18,000, which is really fast. You know what I mean? We've had our channel for over a year, and we're nowhere near that. Yeah. But the one thing about it is that Indie Soup Media has not compromised who they are. You know, they allow the content creators to create the content that they want to, and they give them a space in order to present it in the form and fashion in which they would like. And that's what I've loved about it. And, you know, it's not even just that, it's about the interactive, being able to interact with the audience, being able to interact with other content creators, which you don't really get a lot of when it comes to YouTube. Everyone's kind of like siloed, unless you find your niche, and you can have community within that. Now, I want to go back a little bit when you guys were talking about how, you know who you are, and it's relevant with all social media platforms. I know, like, for myself with my Instagram account, I've kind of neglected it to a certain degree, just because we're all, you know, you're busy, you got other stuff you're doing. But then also I realized that I kind of had pigeonholed myself into, or I should say, the viewers pigeonholed me into a certain category. Like, they wanted to see certain things, and if they didn't see it, then they either just did not like the content, they didn't view it, or whatever. They just moved on. Over the last year or so, I've lost over 2,000 followers, which is fine. My thing is, I'm not going to put out stuff just because people want to see it. Like, that's what they're expecting me to see. I want to put out content that I feel good about, that that is relevant to what I'm doing, and that speaks to who I am. You know, I was very intentional when I picked the name for my username, and I've used it for everything. Constantly changing for me. I'm going to constantly keep changing, and I'm not going to allow other people to dictate what I do. You know, we do this show on this platform because it reflects what we want to put out. We're not looking at algorithms and saying, all right, well, they're only liking this stuff, we're only going to put this stuff out. Like, you know, we Drag Race recaps. We do it because we watch it and we like it, we want to talk about it, and we figure, well, why not let everyone else be a part of it? You know, all the shows that we've done, season 1 and season 2, these are all topics that we've all sat down and said, all right, well, what do we want to talk about? And then we agree on those topics and we put out. We don't sit there and say, all right, let's look at what's popular right now out there, and let's see how can we interject ourselves into this conversation just to have the clickable views. That's not what we do. So, you know, it's either you're going to do this for yourself, or you're doing it for other people just so you can be famous and make that money. Yes, we all love to make money off of this. But I'm a true believer in slow and steady wins the race, and then eventually it will come. You know what I mean? Guy, you gonna say something?
Yes, you just touched on what a point that I wanted to make, which was slow growth. I think slow growth is best.
Oh my God, that's so. I'm so TJ. Like, that's exactly the last thing I watched about YouTubers quitting was people complaining about being trapped by their viral video. So when you said slow, it made me think of it when you said slow growth. You believe in slow growth?
Yeah.
So immature.
Jesus. But no, slow growth is best. And as we're having this discussion, I'm put back into my master's program as we were talking about like businesses being scaled and scalability. And there was something that never sit right with me as we were talking about that, specifically in one class, and how like typically a business, if you want it to be as big as possible, as quick as possible, but that is a great way for it to burn out as quickly as possible. Most new businesses don't they fail within the first couple of years or whatever, because they try to grow so quickly. And I think that's what we're seeing with these YouTubers, because again, that's a business. Millions and millions of followers. You're making God knows how much money. You've become a business at that point, and you looked to grow it so fast, but you had no vision. You didn't know how to maintain that. You didn't know what you wanted. You just had kind of a quick end goal. But I think slow growth is best because you're really honing what you do. You're honing your craft. You're figuring out what works, what doesn't work. You're gaining a kind of a dedicated followership or subscribership. And I think that has kind of always been my thing, is like slow growth, which is again why I don't really care that I only have 3,000 followers after so many years or whatever, because again, I know why I'm doing it, and it's not necessarily for that. The second thing I wanted to talk about so my favorite YouTuber is Dashy Games, and all this man does is play video games. And he became I think he became most famous for playing one particular video game, which was Super Mario Maker, where basically people can create their own Super Mario levels and he would play them, and people would start creating them specifically for him for his channel. And he did it for a number of years, I think like over like 5 years, and he did it every single week without fail. And at a certain point, and I commend him for this, at a certain point, he realized, I'm getting burnt out doing this. Like, it's not giving me the same joy, and it's starting to become a task. So instead of completely like shuttering his whole YouTube or not doing it, what he decided to do was, I'm going to stop doing this particular set of videos every single week. I'm going to just do them kind of sporadically. I'm going to put them out as a surprise because that's the content that most people love. I'm going to put it out every now and again as a surprise. And I'm going to continue to play other types of video games. And I think that was very smart. I think that was a brilliant idea. Instead of just completely quitting, do something else, pivot, do something else that you can still do what you love without necessarily, hating, what you're.
So I want to expand on that a little bit. One of the things I've noticed about YouTubers, a lot of the people that are burning out are relatively new YouTubers. When I say new to YouTubers, like 5 years and less, they tend to be burning out a lot more. Now, you've got people that started out on YouTube when they were young. So I'm going to use two perfect examples and show the difference between them. So I'm sure you guys probably know who Casey Neistat is, right? Okay, Casey Neistat, big white YouTuber out of New York. He started off poor, had his son young. He was a teenager, got into YouTube, built this huge YouTube following and brand, and created businesses around this whole YouTube thing. And he has quit. He had quit YouTube at one point, but then came back within like a year or two, whatever. But he's still ginormous. All right. And I think a lot of times when you're not necessarily focused, you can lose focus and you'll walk away from that thing. But there's a passion and love for it. He's come back to it. Now, the other person I want to talk about is Marcus Brownlee. He started doing it when he was, I think it was 13, I believe, either 13 or 16, but in his bedroom at home. And what he has built is amazing. But what he's done that's different from a lot of other people is, he started just doing tech reviews. The tech reviews are not the only thing that yes, it's tech, but he diversifies the things that he reviews. And then he's built a staff around him. He's the face of it to a certain degree, but he's built people around him, and he's built relationships. And then also now he's expanded into products. So he's not just doing the same monotonous thing over and over again. And then he's also always trying to reinvent how he presents his content, which is, I think, a huge factor when you look at people who are putting stuff out and they're putting out the same thing over and over again, and they're putting out what, quote unquote, the algorithm is telling them to put out versus putting out what they believe in their heart is the best thing, and they stand by what the content that they're putting out. So it's a numbers game, and then it's also really about what do you believe in, where you're going to stand. No matter what you do, like you said, Rex, there might come a point where you're going to feel burnt out. But it's a matter of, well, do I really want to do this, and can it sustain itself? And the worst thing is doing something that you love passionately, then turning into a business, and then turning around and hating it.
And like to Rex's point initially, like I think because perhaps you turned it into a business, that is why you start to hate it. But I also think it's really important to take a break. I think this other YouTuber.
Oh, we know you believe in a break. Girl.
I do. I will take a break today. I'll take a break right now. This other YouTuber I follow, he also plays games, Corey Kenshin. I think he kind of routinely takes breaks.
We lost your audio.
I feel like Rex did that.
No, he can't control your audio.
You can mute.
No, we can't mute you.
You surely can. I just muted you. You surely can. No.
Child, y'all are playing all kind of games.
Okay. Wow. Get your ass back in the stream.
I was trying to.
Oh, I think we're clicking the button at the same time.
Okay. I learned something new today.
Child, I look at them buttons all the time. Anyway, yeah, I think it's really important to also take breaks, because that's with anything you do. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Rex, I'm gonna give you the last word before we wrap up. Bring this to a little button.
I've gone far enough in the clown car for the day.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay, sir. Well, guess what? Hit my outro music. Yeah.
You know you gotta wait a minute. We can't hear you.
Oh my God. Can y'all not hear me?
There you go.
Okay.
You always gotta give it a minute.
Thank you guys for joining us today on episode 7 of The Conference Call. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button so you can get notified every time we drop new videos. And we'll see you guys next week for the season finale of The Conference Call. Deuces, people, deuces. Thanks for watching this show on Indie Soup Media. Now, if you're watching here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification button so that you can get notified when we drop new videos every week. See you guys next time.